Mosaic, A Story of Civilization is a set collection and area control game for 1 to 6 players. It also does have solo rules. Was this a game that's going to be great for your gaming group? Well, come on back after the break for a quick overview of Mosaic, A Story of Civilization. Hey everybody, welcome to the show, Boardgame Reviews. This is a YouTube channel dedicated to the tabletop gaming hobby, and this video is part of a video series looking at the game of Mosaic, A Story of Civilization. Now this is a 1 to 6 player game which does have a full solo rules or a AI bot that's used versus multiple players, but the game does play up to 6 players. And the cool thing about this game is it is a civilization themed game that plays in less than 3 hours. Now if you have any comments or questions, make sure you leave them down in the YouTube comments down below. I will be sure to answer them as quick as I can. You can also feel free to email me at off-the-shelf-boardgame-reviews. That is otsbgr@gmail.com. Do my best to answer those emails as quickly as I can. You can also think about supporting the channel over on Patreon. Just tossing $1 tip jar is a great way to say thanks. No sponsors, no gimmicks. This channel is 100% sponsor free. Everything you see comes out of my own pocketbook. You can help me keep the channel growing strong and help me cover my costs. As always, like and subscribe because we're working towards our 10,010 because I'm about to hit my 10-year anniversary here in February. If you help me get to 10,000 subscribers, that'd make me oh so happy. But let's go ahead and explain a quick overview of exactly how to play the game of Mosaic. In the game Mosaic, players are competing to score victory points. Whoever has the most amount of victory points is be the grand winner of the game. The game is going to give you victory points for doing various different things, but the end game triggers are one of the cool, interesting things about this game. Because this game is a set collection through all the cards we see out here on the board, but it's also an area control game based on the map, and we're going to do some area control mechanics as we play the game. But every one of these decks of cards has been seeded with an Empire scoring card. So there's 4 Empire scoring cards for all 4 of the decks. Once the 3rd Empire scoring card has been revealed, that's going to bring about the end game. We're going to have one more final, full, complete round for all the players. Additionally, we also have civilization achievements, we have golden ages, and we have grand wonders for all across the world. If 2 of these stacks happen to be ending or empty, that is also going to bring about the end game condition. Again, we're going to play one more full round. Whoever has the most amount of victory points at that point is going to be the grand winner of the game. But I mentioned victory points a couple times. So how do we gain victory points? Well, every time one of those Empire scoring cards comes out, we are going to score victory points based on however many cities we have on the board, however many farms we happen to have on the board, however many manufacturing towns we happen to have on the board, and also we're going to gain area control and area majority for also having military units out on the board themselves, because they are going to gain us influence. Every single time one of those Empire scoring cards comes out, every single region on the board is going to score. Whoever has the most amount of influence in a specific region is going to gain resource or going to gain victory points based on the total amount of cities and wonders in an area, which is an interesting little spin on things, because not only are you racing to have the most influence, you kind of want to entice the other players to come into your areas and make them think that they can compete with you for the influence of that area, and then pull a nice quick maneuver prior to an Empire scoring round and gain victory points from their cities and their wonders that they've also managed to build in those areas, which is a nice little twist on the game, and it's kind of a cool aspect of the game. Additionally, we're going to gain victory points for building projects. Projects are going to be part of the set collection mechanic of the game. Now, the set collection is something I've already mentioned. You're going to notice that there's symbols on the bottom of all these technology cards, symbols on the bottom of all these build cards, and those symbols are going to be part of the set collection, which are also going to dovetail in another victory point condition that we have for the game. But the basic idea is once we get 6 of any symbol in our Empire of cards that we have part of our set collection, those are going to allow us to score victory points for the golden ages that we've managed to achieve for our empires. Now, there's 9 different pillars of civilization such as agriculture, pillars of civilization such as government, various different pillars of civilization. But these pillars of civilization, once we manage to get 6 of any of those pillars in our empire, we may claim one of these golden ages, which are also going to give us victory points in the game, but they're also going to give us various spiffs the moment we manage to claim these. Additionally, players are going to be competing for these civilization achievements, and there's going to be randomized every time you play the game. Every single time you play the game, you're always going to have the same amount of golden ages, the same amount of wonders, unless you're playing the Hero Bodice of Solar Wolves, which is a little bit different. But every time you play the game, you're going to take 15 of these civilization achievements, shuffle them up, and you're only going to keep 9 of them. And these civilization achievements are different goals that players can work towards to gain victory points. For example, be the first one to have 60 money. 6 victory points. Be the first one to have 15 food production, 6 victory points. Be the first one to have 12 population available on your empire board, 6 victory points. What if you're the one who's the first one to have 12 tariff production? Again, you're going to gain 6 victory points. So the game gives you a whole bunch of different ways where you can gain victory points by doing area control, by doing set collection, by building up the board, by building up our empire, and by doing all these things that go ahead and win the game. The game has a very nice, simplistic turn structure. It actually feels like it takes longer to set up the game than it does to actually play some of the players' turns, because the turns in this game are extremely fast. On your turn, you're simply going to take one of 8 different actions. The actions you can take in the game are very nice and easy. You can do a build action, you can do a population action, you can do a work action, you can do a technology action. You can tax your people, you can build up a military, you can seek out a government, or you can go ahead and work towards the area control, work towards these various different ways to gain those victory points. As I said, the game is going to play out over rounds. Players are going to continue going around the table, taking one action, performing whatever that action requires, spending resources that they need to, gaining resources from the action they're completing, working towards getting all these cards, getting them into their empire, getting the area control to be the grand winner of the game. I didn't even add in the fact that there are different leaders that we're going to pick every time we start playing the game. These different leaders have different powers, different abilities, and different ways to score victory points, even give us different beginning resources, making the gameplay much more asymmetric. And on top of that, there's also all these different governments. These governments can give you different ways to earn victory points and kind of also influence your strategies every time you play the game. Once one of the in-game victory conditions has happened to be triggered, we're going to finish the current round. Then we're going to get one more full round for all the players on the table. Once we've had one more full round for all the players at the end of the table, we're going to have one final scoring, which is going to be a little bit different than the Empire scoring. At the final scoring, we're going to get victory points for all the cities we have on the board, all the towns we have on the board. We have victory points for the projects we've completed, special victory points based on technologies we may have happened to completed, wonders we haven't built on the board, various different things, and then we may lose a little bit of victory points depending on how much unrest our empire has managed to accumulate. Whoever has the most amount of victory points at the end of the game is to be the grand winner of Mosaic and be the grandest civilization throughout the ages. If you want to learn some more about Mosaic, a story of civilization, you check out the other videos in the series. I have a video that teaches you how to play the game. I have a full review of the game. I have a game sample video where I'm going to play a full game, a 3-player game, and also a sample video where I'm going to play a full game just using the AIs. 1 player versus the AI. Yes, this is one of those games that has have a true solo mode. And not only is it a true solo mode, you can actually throw the AI in a multiplayer game. And it's something I think is great to do, especially in the lower player count games. Because like I said, this game does play great from 1 to 6 players. But the lower player count games do have a tendency to feel like there's a little bit less pressure. So AI in the lower player count games can be absolutely fantastic to help force that pressure, force the players to go out there and expand their empires, because nothing is more embarrassing than losing a game to an AI because the AI has played smarter than you. Unless you want to welcome our robot overlords into the future, or at least in this case, our card-based overlords, because that's how the AIs happen to be built. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this video series. If you have any comments or questions, make sure you leave them down in the YouTube comments down below. I will do my best to get to them as quick as I can. Also, feel free to email me off the show of Board Game Reviews. That is ots@bgr@gmail.com. I do my best to answer those emails as quick as I can. If you enjoy the content, you enjoy the video series, think about supporting the channel on Patreon. Just toss you $1 in tip jar is a great way to say thanks. Matter of fact, my Patreon backers are also going to gain access to a file which I generated, which is a good overview of the turn structure for the game for the actual rounds, and it breaks them down into a nice 2-page document. If you're a backer over on Patreon, just toss that $1. You can download that file and it's going to throw it in your box and help you play the game, I think, a little bit better. If you enjoyed this video, click that like button, click that subscribe button, and as always, thanks for watching.